To Monday, May 13th, Governing Board meeting at EVIT, East Valley Institute of Technology. I'd like to thank all the parents and students for coming tonight, and I want to hear all about you, but we have the pledge to do first. Ms. Boggs.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
See how quiet they got with the rain?
Yeah, you gotta get that.
Yeah.
To be on the judge.
Okay. Oh, I got this stuff here. We come to the great presentation and recognition of our CTSO students. HOSA, I believe, is first.
Mr. President, members of the board, it is my pleasure to be able to recognize some of our students here today. And we always really enjoy this time of year where we get to take a look back at all the great work that has been done. And at this time, I would like to turn it over to two of our directors. I'm not sure who's going first, Ms. Paula Corbin and Ms. Jen Schwartz, to introduce their teachers as well as their students.
Thank you, Mr. President and the board, for letting us come and talk about HOSA. So we're super excited to talk about all the students that qualified for ILC this year. It's going to be in Houston in June. We had 25 students qualify, and we have 18 students that we will be taking with us. And these students that we're taking qualified either first, second, or third place. So this is amazing that we were able to do this. I'm going to have the teachers come up and introduce their students so they can tell a little bit about them, and if you have any questions, you can follow up with them. So we have Mr. Winstead, if he wants to go ahead and come on up. We have Ms. Irwin, and then I don't think Ms. McKinley is here, but I'll step in her place. So for Ms. McKinley's class, we have Macy Davis. Macy Davis is here, right? Macy's here. Come on up, Macy. Come on up, Macy. Oh, come on up, Macy. So Macy placed third in phlebotomy. I'm going to let you come on up and introduce yourself and talk about what you did.
Okay. Hi, I'm Macy. Really, it was a really good experience, honestly. And all I really did is like the skills portion of it. Like I kind of had to not practice it, but like show the skill, stuff like that. And yeah, it was pretty cool. So.
Thanks, Macy.
Hi, my name is Mr. Winstead. I'm one of the medical assistant instructors. I had 5 students qualify, 3 of them two of them are going to international, and one of them is here right now, so I'd like to bring up Natalie. Come on up here. Natalie also placed second in phlebotomy at SLC this year.
Hello, I'm Natalie Jinez, and I just had a really good experience at HOSA. Such an amazing time going and meeting new people, and especially practicing a skill that I love very much, so I just had a really good time.
Am I next? Yes, you are. Awesome. Hi, guys. I am Tina Irwin. I teach pharmacy, and I had several students qualify for SLC and are going on to LLC. I had Arpit Sohi, who did life science skills, got second place. So Arpit, come on up. Yeah, Arpit's coming. All right. Then I had Catherine James placed second place in pharmacology for adults. And McKay placed second place for, McKay Pratt placed second place for pharmacology for high school. And then I have Jeanette Sasiato that placed first place for pharmacy science for adult as well. So you guys come on up. All right.
So I'm McKay Pratt. I go to Heritage Academy Mesa, just down the road. So I competed in the pharmacology competition. I studied with a friend in my class. We were able to do the same competition, and we went up together. We had a lot of fun at the competition, and well, we were just in the hotel, not competing, but we were lucky enough to be able to take first and second in that competition, and it was a great time. We enjoyed it. Yeah, thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Arpit Sohi. I go to Hamilton High School in Chandler, Arizona. I placed second in the life support skills, and I had a lot of fun experiencing. And I'd like to thank Mr. Winstead and Ms. Irwin for helping me support all the way.
Hi everyone, I'm Catherine James. I placed second in the state in pharmacology. I want to thank Ms. Irwin and Mr. Winstead for their support, and my success in HOSA has inspired me to continue my bachelor's degree at ASU this fall.
Hello, I'm Jeanette Salcido. I placed first in pharmacy science, and I really am appreciative of my advisors that I had on the trip. Ms. Irwin, she really motivated me to pursue this career that I have very much of an interest in, and I'm very grateful to have this opportunity.
Hello, I have one more that was also being recognized, as she was our adult student, and she finished first in medical assisting. So Fathi, come on up here.
Hi, my name is Fateh Jama. I am medical assistant student, and I compete medical assistant, and I had a lot of fun. I learned through doing the experience, and I wish everybody can also participate. Thank you.
I would like to congratulate all of our competitors on a job well done. Very well done, everyone. We do have a few more HOSA competitors to recognize. What we have are our award winners that competed for, am I moving on in appropriate order? Or I have messed up? Am I okay? Okay, I'll keep going. Okay, sorry about that. So the next set of HOSA competitors that I would like to present is our students that competed in community service and received recognition for that. So they received the Presidential Award recognition for their amount of community service hours that they completed. So our bronze medalists in this category volunteered 100 or more hours. Our silver was 175 or more, and gold was 250 or more. We had a total of 3,379 community service hours between all of our students, which is absolutely amazing. If you are a Barbara James Award, Presidential Award recipient, or their instructor, please come up here. I know there's a lot of you, so please just join me up here. Come on back behind me. As you can tell, it's quite a gag. So I would like to thank all of the students for their hard work, as well as the instructors for coaching those students and their hard work. But also thank you to the families that are here supporting those students, because without you, we wouldn't be able to have these wonderful individuals here in front of us and be able to recognize them. So thank you, families, for everything that you do.
could we just have each of them tell us what their name and their home high school? That would be great.
My name is Victoria, and I go to Westwood High School.
My name is Brody, and I go to Hamilton High School.
My name is Dulce and I go to Westwood. I'm Goretti Ramirez and I come from Skyline.
My name is Renee Arnell and I go to Gilbert High School.
Hello, my name is Diana Ibarra-Tabuyo and I go to Heritage Academy.
Hello, my name is Antonio Ibarra-Tabuyo and I go to Heritage Academy Mesa.
Hi, my name's Addie and I go to ALA Queen Creek High School.
Quick and thanks.
Second, hopefully. I want to take a second and really thank all of the teachers for being there for your students and really supporting them. It takes a whole village to make this happen. I also want to do a special thanks to Sharon Black. This was her last year. She's promised us that this is her last year in helping getting HOSA and getting those skills done. And we're excited for her to hand the baton over, but very thankful for all the work that she did this year to keep HOSA going. This is one of the best, if not one of the best years and showings we've had for our students. We're really excited to see these amazing students and to hear from all the different districts and as well as high schools that they came from. We had charter, we had public, we had it all, and I'm really excited to see all of them here as well as our adult students. I think this is the most adult students we've had ever participate in HOSA, and that's been wonderful to see.
I assume that's all the presentations and recognition, is that correct? Yes?
I believe that do we have a student that just showed?
I think we just had them walk in,
Yeah,
yes.
can we just say, I don't know who she is, but if whoever she is, could we recognize her?
She made it. Over here, the PA. See, it pays to come late.
This is one of my students. This is Lindsay, and
Speak in the microphone, please.
me. Anyway, this is one of my students, Lindsay, and she qualified for the Barbara James Presidential Award. She volunteered so much, and my other students, right there's Addie. But yeah, they spent so much time, and just to reiterate what you guys have said, it's not because of us, it's their parents. These girls are intelligent and kind and spent so much time. Didn't you get over 300?
250.
350? 250? But anyway, they did really well, so you can go ahead. We don't live out here, we got lost.
My name is Lindsay. I go to the East Power campus, and I volunteer over 250 hours at the Banner Bayward location.
Wow.
I spent most of the time in the rooms in the buildings, handing out books or magazines to the patients that were there. And I spent most times also in the main lobby, checking out patients and families in.
Thank you. Now, we're on to item 4, but parents and students, you've been to the best part of the meeting already, the part that we enjoy the most, because it's our pleasure to see you come up and win awards and stuff like that. And you do not have to stay for the rest of the meeting. We won't be upset if you walk out of here and go home and enjoy the rest of your day.
But you're welcome.
But you're welcome to stay. Do I need to get my cup? she'll get them right here. That young lady.
That's so dear.
This is Grandpa giving. Now everybody's in the back seat.
Staff doesn't want to come to the front.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's okay.
I know who will stay back there. All right, here we go. Item number 4, minutes of the regular meeting from April 22nd. Do I hear a motion?
Also move.
Good. Celine.
Go ahead, Mr. Lee.
I'll move the approval of the minutes for the meeting held on April 22, 24.
I second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion on this? Hearing none, we'll vote by acclamation.
Motion before us is the approval of the minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Okay, we have a call to the public. We have a John Lindstrom here. And basically the rule is you have 3 minutes to tell us your story. We cannot comment on whatever you're talking about, but we appreciate you coming and telling us what you need to know. You've got 3 minutes.
Thank you. Board members and administrative staff, I've been encouraged to come to these type of events to see what's really going on in EVIT. Sometimes we do not know all the good things that are happening. So next week, I'm going to participate in my 6th completion ceremony at EVIT. And as I reflect on that journey, I came here as a content expert, and I quickly discovered that my true call was to be an instructor, to be focused and mentoring and shaping lives. This mission has never been clearer than it was this year. It was a year filled with profound challenges and very significant achievements. This year I faced a health scare, underwent heart surgery, returning with a renewed commitment. However, this period also brought great heartbreak with the loss of a student to a tragic accident, receiving multiple calls from alumni parents about students that have been severely injured, and another devastating loss. These moments have sharpened my focus on our core mission to change lives by loving our students and serving our community. Our students have made remarkable strides from the automotive program on a national stage. I receive calls and texts every week from alumni that are striving the field. One's a field tech engineer for Nissan in Jackson, Mississippi. Another is working all across North America for Nikola. I get another call from a student that now is interning as a product engineer for Brembo Brakes over at ASU. She's studying engineering. And then I got one where I feel like it's where's Waldo. I get this call from Abby, and she is now currently a member of the Ferrari race team pit crew. She's texted me from Spain, from Canada, from California. Their success is a testament to their hard work and our commitment to their development. Tonight was a great show to be a part of coming here. Locally, I hardly ever enter a dealership without encountering one of our former students carving out their own path. I could point to Ryan here tonight, who has done a remarkable job qualifying in skills, doing all sorts of different things. But I'm pretty sure that this year's completers is going to surpass the total number of students that were enrolled in our program the first year I was here. And with 4 brand new instructors this year in the automotive department, our pass rate for the state TSA continued to rise to over 75%, which is a great testament to that. This year we participated in a lot of things that might not seem like they fit, and we heard that, but in several notable events across the valleys, we participated with the Good Guys Car Club, Fuel Fest, the MAG auction, the NHRI drag races, and the Barrett-Jackson auction. Tonight I'd like to celebrate our involvement with the Buick, Olds, Pontiac, and Chevrolet car show that was out here earlier this year. which proved to be a real-world experience and has led to future career opportunities for our students. Last week, they came knocking on my door and they presented me with a generous donation to be split between the general school fund and our automotive program, ensuring that our students would continue to have these invaluable experiences. As I present these stories and reflect on these thoughts tonight, I want to thank a couple of you who have supported me through this journey, who have shared my blind spots with me. You reminded me of the importance of celebrating every single success, whether big or small. This has helped me to embrace a twist on our mission statement that I probably share everywhere I go, but what it means to be now. Instead of changing lives by loving our students and serving our community, I would encourage all of our instructors, administration, and staff to be changed by loving our students and serving our community. Thank you.
I know I'm not supposed to comment, but thank you, Mr. Lindstrom. We appreciate teachers like you. Okay. Okay, call the public. Gone.
Consent agenda.
We have,
6A.
consent agenda?
Yes.
A through H, I believe.
Yes.
Do I hear a motion?
I make a motion to accept the consent agenda, items A through H.
I'll second.
We got a second down there. Is your microphone on?
It is.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Watkins. Any questions about anything in the consent agenda? Hearing none, vote by acclamation.
Okay, the vote is to approve the consent agenda items 6A through H. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion passes.
Okay, we're on to item 7, personnel. Dr. Wilson, any changes?
Mr. President, members of the governing board, no, this is a standard personnel item for this time of year. We have some staff that's exiting, some staff that we're hiring for next year, but we're also preparing for the summer work that needs to get done. So this reflects all of that.
Okay. Do I hear a motion?
Move the approval of items 7A and B.
Okay.
I second.
Any questions? Statements? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. Acclamation?
Motion is to approve items 7A and B. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion passes.
Thank you. Information discussion with Dr. Wilson, item 8.
Mr. President, members of the governing board, we had this item on our last agenda, but it's just a reminder. The way our current policy reads, the governing board has the ability to appoint and vote on any of its members to attend our conferences. And so you'll see that there's an action item in front of you in our next section that has one or all of you, or none, depends on what you decide, going to the conference in Tucson, the state conference in Tucson. So just as a reminder, that motion will require names specifically in the motion, so there can be approval for one or more of you to attend that conference.
Okay, that's it? Sweet. On to 9, action item, approval for board members to travel for 1924 Arizona ACT Conference, Summer Conference. If you'd like to go, we need to hear your name so we can put it in that insert.
David Lane will be attending.
Any others? If not, Amber's not here. I don't know if she wants to go or not, but we can put her name.
Amber would not be going.
She would not go? Okay. Thank you.
Is there anybody?
All right, just Mr. Lane, I guess the only one that wants to go. Do I have a motion?
I'll move we approve the board member travel on that action item 9.
I second.
Mr. President,
Yes.
I have a question for legal counsel. Is it sufficient for open meeting law purposes to have an action item that does not have the name 24 hours in advance?
That's a good point.
I think the way the agenda item is written, the potential is for all of you to go. So that would be noticed to the public that all of you might go. So limiting it to one should not be a problem.
Great. Thank you, sir.
Okay, I call for the question. Call.
It's been, okay. We're on item 9. All in favor of the motion to approve the overnight travel for Mr. Lane to attend the ACT Summer Conference in Tucson? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody against? Motion passes.
Lane gets good information when you come back.
All right.
Looking for. Okay, proposal of budget revision. That would be Edith Perez. Item 9B.
Good evening, Mr. President, members of the board. I just wanted to give you a quick update regarding the budget revision. Basically overview, when you approved the budget back in June of last year to be adopted, as you may recall, we always budget under the assumption that we're going to experience a decline in enrollment. Thankfully for us, we experienced an increase. So as far as the overview of the budget, what you see approving tonight in the revision is an increase to ADM. As a result of that, we adjusted the budget for the maintenance and operation, the allocation that goes into the unrestricted capital outlay fund. Classroom site fund didn't change simply because that allocation doesn't change, and that's based on prior year ADM. Also, federal and state projects was adjusted based on actual. The increase in, this also reflects the increase in FTEs based on the fact that when we were preparing the budget in June, we didn't realize the growth, so we did have to hire additional staff, additional instructors, additional instructional aides, as well as other support staff, along with some of the new positions that you approved along the way. So this budget revision reflects that. It also includes a $1.7 million that we're receiving for the 9th grade funding. This is the first time that we're receiving it. The majority of these funds will be passed through to the satellite districts. However, we don't have that allocation at the district level. We don't anticipate getting that until sometime in July from school finance. So I won't be able to share that information until later in the summer. There's also that one-time supplemental funding that we received for $941,000. As I mentioned, there's that budget level increase that when we budgeted, it was at 8,362 ADM, which is the updated number is 9,187. You can see, I won't read every single line item for you there, but you can see the difference between what you approved for the budget adoption to what the current change is. When you look at the M&O, which is the majority of our funding in the individual areas, we increase the funds in the salaries, benefits, the purchase services as well. And then for any additional supplies within each of the programs, as well as any of the other areas such as our janitorial, maintenance, and those related items. And then other, just to note, the reason why you see that large of an amount, that's where we fund or where we have to allocate for those pass-through dollars. So there were some districts that also experienced an increase along with that $1.7 million that I mentioned. That's where it's budgeted into the M&O. As far as federal and state, we did see an increase in state projects and some of the other funds, which includes our enterprise, our tax credit, our adult education. That's where you see the main difference. But all in all, the main reason why we're doing this budget revision, one is we were required to do it, but also to make sure that I brought those numbers to you as a result of the ADM increase.
Very nice job, Edith.
Thank you.
Any questions for her?
Ms. Paris, part of this change reflects, of course, the change in the ADM, but it also reflects our conservative budgeting at the start of the fiscal year. Am I correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
We need a motion, second.
Okay. Need a motion?
Mr. President, I move that we approve items 9B, the budget revisions that have been proposed.
Okay, 23, 24.
I'll second.
Okay, Mr. Lane seconded.
Okay, we have before us 9B, motion to approve the budget revisions for FY 23-24. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion passes.
Thank you. Okay, on to 9C, acceptance of the uniform system financial records. It's a big heading. But Edith, what I can see on this, you've done a lot, and you've done an excellent job, and I appreciate everything that you and your employees that are under you, that you've done a great job. Okay.
Thank you. Mr. President, an audit is always a learning experience for all of us. We do have a lot of new team members, and it's always an opportunity for us to look and review our internal processes to make sure that everyone's under the same understanding. We do have some audit findings in there that we've already reviewed internally with the staff. We've increased the training that we have scheduled for them. Just to make sure that we are in full understanding of what the expectation is and what the compliance requirements are so that we can prevent those audit findings from happening in the future.
Thank you.
May I ask a couple
Yes.
of questions? Thanks. And I second the comments, regarding the appreciation for the mammoth undertaking to complete, this much paperwork, which I know is a small sample. I do have a couple of questions from the documentation, if you wouldn't mind. I do recall, I think there was just the one material finding. Could you explain what we're doing around that? And that is from the single audit report.
I believe if I understand the one you're referring to, this is regarding the reporting. We obviously have been a very small department, so we haven't had that much additional support staff to do the review. Thankfully, with your approval of having that additional staff member, and luckily for us, we found someone that does have a lot of experience, and Angie Terry brings in some of that background, and she's already looking at establishing some checklists so that it could be in additional support as we relate to reviewing those comprehensive reports.
Cool, thank you. And in terms of the USFR compliance questionnaire, most of the items, I believe, were clean, which is excellent, but I think we're a competitive bunch. And so would you mind sharing some of our ideas as a district about how we're going to eliminate some of the no's from those findings? I know you mentioned training, but if there's anything else specific, I think it would be good for us to hear those as well.
Right, so a couple of items, and they're obviously when we're doing the internal audit and we're looking at the questionnaire, it's always a challenge because it's a yes or no answer. So in some of those cases, when we get that no, we try to really look and make sure that we didn't miss, anything. So we're always looking at different procedures, different trainings, and more specifically, there are a couple of procedures that, because of the audit findings, that we have to take another look at. Simply because what we interpret as being, the auditors are interpreting a little bit different, so we want to make sure that we're fully understanding the way they're looking at it. We're looking at that there's a clear interpretation of it so that we're not making that same mistake. Also additional training, as I mentioned, through the Arizona Association of School Business Officials. They do have, what they started this year is we basically buy a membership for online training that they have provided, so we went ahead and purchased that. And like I mentioned, we do have a lot of new staff, and it's important for us to be able to attend those training sessions because that is primarily in my opinion, the key to making sure that they understand, but then also sharing the actual questionnaire so that they understand what they're looking for. We've already established meetings with the admissions team and the reporting team because it's important for them to understand the enrollment forms, the dates that are involved with that could lead into some of those audit findings. So we're looking at it from different ways, from training to revising our procedures to then meeting with staff that are involved in the day-to-day.
Cool, I appreciate it, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your questions. Mr. Boyle, any other?
I have a question for Ms. Perez, and this is kind of off the wall, and like most of my questions, but
True.
I think, at least I was, when you did your presentation earlier in the year, and we have finally understood that, wow, you need help. What you do is amazing, but if you are not here, we're in real trouble. So the question is, are you comfortable sharing with either your superiors or the board that whether you have further needs that we should be addressing along those or other lines? I mean, this is an amazing amount of stuff that you do, and it makes my head hurt just thinking. I was just flipping through this to think, wow. So I'm just concerned that you get the support that you need. And I know with the other folks on the executive group, you have that, but are you feeling that support from the board? And if you have needs, are you comfortable coming to Mr. Covington or to Chad and saying we need to take this up with the board for more support?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Because, I mean, we're clearly, we're growing.
Well, I must say is over the last year, because of the growth that my team has grown, right now we're at the stage where they're learning. So I do feel that we have the adequate support level. We just need to now get them to be at the level with the knowledge of our internal processes and or to evaluate the processes to see if there's any changes needed within those as well. And that's where the support of the rest of the administrative team comes in.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Okay, I said it was off the wall, I'm sorry.
You are off the wall.
That's good.
I
Good
like your
question.
question.
That's good.
Dr. Wilson, you're ready to support her if she comes for more ammo for
Yeah,
employees?
honestly, if Ms. Perez comes in and says, I need 5 more people, I'm going to say, let's get 6, because I don't even know what she does, so yes, 100%.
You can count that high? All right. All right. Do we have, no, we have.
Yeah, we have to approve that.
Do we have a motion?
Not yet. Mr. President.
No.
I move that we accept the Uniform System Financial Records Compliance Questionnaire Report and Single Audit for fiscal year '23.
A second?
Mr. Boyle seconds.
I believe that needs to be a roll call vote, yes?
Roll call, okay. Roll call vote.
Okay.
Whatever our names.
Mr. Watkins?
Aye.
Mr. Watkins is an aye. Dr. Metcalf?
Aye.
Dr. Metcalf is an aye. Mr. Boyle?
Aye.
Mr. Boyle is an aye. Mr. Covington?
Aye.
Mr. Covington is an aye. Mr. Hobson's an aye. Ms. Boggs?
Aye.
Ms. Boggs is an aye. Mr. Ellison?
Aye.
Mr. Ellison's an aye. Mr. Lane?
Aye.
Mr. Lane is an aye. It passes
Unanimously.
unanimously.
All right, thank you. Okay, now this is where some people in the back room can wake up. This is about you, GMP 7.4 contract, building 1, remodeling and some other stuff to add on to it. Dr. Wilson, I'll let you lead the discussion first.
Mr. President, members of the governing board, one of the things that we're fortunate to have is a partnership with Chase and SPS Plus in our remodel of our main campus. It's quite an undertaking, and one of their proactive approaches is to jump early on early procurement as we round into the next phase of remodel. And you've seen that multiple times. This is just another example of that, in which we're asking for early procurement for Building 1 renovation on the bottom floor. If you remember, we're already doing some work on the bottom floor for baking and for barbering. This then begins the process for the entirety of the bottom floor to begin right when school's out. But this allows them to get a jump start on that work and get materials and product ordered that we know have a bit of a lead time. You'll also see on that dollar amount that there's two items. One is the life cycle analysis, and I bring this up every single time we're together because one of the things that we have realized is that there was not much done on this campus to do preventative maintenance, and so a good amount of what's being done is what should have been done all over the years. But you'll also see that there is dollars allocated there for us to do some temporary parking and expansion out onto Alma School. So one of the real challenges we have here as we grow, and we are continuing to grow, is that students get onto our campus without much of a problem, but it's when they exit that we wind up having the problem, because they come on at all different times, but they all leave at the same time. And the only exit is onto Main Street, and you can only go east onto Main Street. And so you wind up having either a logger jam at Longmore, or all the way down to Alma School. And so we've always wanted the ability to be able to use Alma School, but we never necessarily had the enrollment to do it. So if you remember, we own the land behind the Fry's parking, the Fry's food store, that dirt lot all the way out to Alma School. And at one time we talked about, and we still are intending to do a CDL track out there. We're also talking about doing a heavy machining program out there, moving some diesel out there, having the ability to expand welding on our main campus. But the first phase of that is to get some parking and to have some alleviated tension on our main campus. And so you'll see the dollars there to begin that project, in which we are of the fingers crossed hope that we would be able to have some temporary parking, about 365 spots there come July, and then we would turn it into permanent parking by December. So you'll see that this is a bit more than what just the demo and the early procurement. It's actually allowing us to have the ability to alleviate some of the tension spots on the campus in terms of parking and exiting after both the AM and the PM session. So that's it.
All right.
Do I have a motion?
I'll move we approve the GMP contract 7.4.
I'll second.
Any questions for Dr. Wilson or Don? None? Hearing none. Ask for the
So we have a
question.
motion to approve items 9D, the GMP 7.4 contract. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion passes.
Okay, RFP for special education contract services. That's number 9E. Dr. Wilson?
Mr. President, members of the governing board, we went out for an RFP for special education contracted services. At the time, we notified 251 different vendors. 84 registered vendors downloaded the bid document. 30 vendors responded with a no bid. You'll see that there was 5 actual vendors that actually responded. We went through evaluation process, 4 of those 5, and you'll see the individuals that were part of the evaluation process and have come back with a recommendation for continuing our usage with steps. It's an interesting situation that we're in with students with disabilities. As you remember, those of you who've been on the board a bit of time, one of the challenges EVIT had a number of years ago was having some issues with OCR as it related to special education services. And at the time, a third party was brought in to help alleviate some of that. Every year we revisit whether it makes more sense for us to try to bring it in-house, internalize it, or to continue with the third-party services. And it's a blessing and a curse, I'll be honest with you. 99% of our faculty did not come through the traditional pathway of education. It's a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing because they didn't go through the traditional pathway of education. It's a curse because they didn't go through the traditional pathway of education. And so many times, one of the real challenges becomes how to meet the needs of an IEP or a 504, how to differentiate, how to modify. And so to have individuals that's their whole expertise, a third party, has just made sense. And so it's our recommendation that we continue with the third-party service, and the third party is steps based on the evaluation process that we went through on the RFP.
Dr. Wilson, Mr. President, I have a question.
Please.
Dr. Wilson, with STEPS, are you finding that the employees of STEPS are qualified and following through on what the requirements are for the contract that we are signing for, or approving consistently?
there's a conversation we have to have with the vendor that I believe is going to be resolved, and it'll be a fair conversation. The individuals that they have assigned to us have been exceptional, the ones that they have assigned to us. But there's some questions we have that I think are not germane to the actual contract itself, but just to make sure we're on the same page. But for the most part, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Now, in the, question for you, in the future, with our growth and everything, are you kind of leaning towards in-house, or want to keep this method?
I think at one point, we will all, if we continue to grow the way that we expect ourselves to grow, we will almost have to begin looking at servicing in-house, just because the contract will become too large and too prohibitive. But I think, we haven't talked about it, but I think it would be a transition. I think it would be almost a year or two in which we're third party in contract, but at the same time beginning to build our capacity to take over that responsibility on our own, because it's a real challenge. I mean, modifying and making sure that we're meeting the needs of the IEP and the 504 and IDA just is a challenge that we have to make sure we really have our hands around before we completely step away from the third party.
Mr. President, I have another question.
Please.
Dr. Wilson, for adult services, does STEPS work with our adult students who self-advocate for their needs?
Yeah, I'm going to ask Dr. Doolan to answer that, please.
Dr. Doolan?
At this time, no. STEPS does not do our adult students. Our adult students are handled in-house.
So we have adequate special education, I shouldn't call it that, but educational supports for adults who self-advocate for their challenge.
Yeah, the accommodation process for adults is very, very different. The IEPs are not honored in adult land.
Yeah.
So it's a different process, and the accommodation requests are actually quite smooth.
Okay, have we ever come up against a situation where an adult perhaps has never had an IEP, but they have struggled with learning, and then they find out that when they come as an adult learner, that they do have a challenge, and do we assist them with a possibility of an evaluation, and then walking them through the process of being able to get the services and self-advocate as they need?
So it's a little bit different with the adults. It's actually easier to get those accommodations. The process is that as an adult is struggling and wants accommodations, all they ask is they meet with the counselor, ask for the accommodation paperwork, take it to their provider, and the provider signs off on what accommodations they would like in the classroom and works with them. That's really all we need. We don't have to have a complete evaluation. We just have to have a signature from a provider authorizing what the request is, whether it's double time, being able to record lectures, private testing room, all of those things.
Okay.
So it's a much simpler process in that there is only certain accommodations. They have to be reasonable. So if they're not reasonable, they're denied. And most of the providers out there understand that. So the accommodations, for the most part, stay pretty reasonable. Every once in a while, we have to send it back and say, that's not a reasonable request.
Okay, thank you.
I guess we need to ask for the question. Do we have a motion?
Is there a motion? Mr. President, I move that we adopt items 9E, the RFP number 24-004 for special ed contracted services.
I second.
We'll vote by question, by acclamation.
9E before you, ladies and gentlemen. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition?
I have a comment.
Okay.
To explain my vote. Apologize. Many parents, we've gone through a lot of these special ed programs in all the school districts, and there's some of the things that are implemented in here that I don't agree with and I cannot support. I understand that there's not a lot to choose from right now, and that's very unfortunate, but the things that talk about skin color and racism, it's racism to me, the way I've read the different programs, especially in Brain Pop. So I have some issues with it. I wish we had something else to choose from, because I don't find that these programs that they have are beneficial to every single student. So I vote no.
So.
That's it.
That's it, okay.
No.
So the motion passes with one vote no.
Okay.
You want to have that by roll call so that you identified separately, or?
I just leave them however.
It's whatever your preferences are. We've been doing by acclamation, but it can just reflect one opposition.
Yeah, just one opposition.
Okay, yeah, let's leave it that way.
Sorry, Dan. Okay. On to item 10, call for executive session. May I have a motion, please?
Mr. President, I move that we go into executive session.
I second.
Mr. Boyle? Acclamation, all in favor?
Aye.
Sorry, I took a jog from you.
Mr. President?
There you go.
Okay, Mr. President. So a couple things. First, I love the new boardroom. I think it just
I do
is
too.
such a different feel to it. And I have to admit, though, that this space here, I appreciate, because before, the way it was structured was really uncomfortable. But because it's a raised top,
You look taller.
well, but here's the problem. Here's the problem. Hold on. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Listen, I'm with you, because in order for me to be able to do this, I gotta put my seat way up. But my feet aren't touching the floor right now. It's just it's horrible. It is. I feel like I'm going to Sunday dinner at my mom's house.
Get bigger boots.
I will appreciate that we don't have any more mauve and aqua.
Yes, thank you, thank you.
Dr. Wilson, you don't have a mini bar like we do, though.
No, I do not, but I can do this. Oh, good for me. Mr. President, members of the governing board, just a couple of updates. The first, and you saw with the approval of GMP 7.4, we've done quite a bit of work on the main campus in terms of the remodel. This room, the auto, fire, we're working on barbering, baking, and all that has been logistically possible because we have an extra space that we're growing into, and that's a wonderful thing. We're about to hit the phase, though, in the construction that's actually going to be the most challenging, and that's building 1. The big, beautiful building 1. The logistics of that are going to be Herculean in terms of navigating. And so I share that with you because we have a plan in place in which we're going to relocate individuals for a period of time. If I'm understanding correctly, the schedule is that we have Chase in building 1 like the day after staff leaves, with the idea of having baking and barbering ready by the time we start in July. And then all of building 1 bottom floor done, I believe, by the following December. And then we would move out the top floor in December of next year, and then take from December all the way to July, a year from now, or a year and a half from now, to do the top floor in building number 1. And then intermixed in there is our central plant, which is going to be a bit of a task as well. So I share that with you because as much as we are grateful and as much as we're excited about the renovation and the updating, it carries with it some growing pains. And the growing pains oftentimes are rooted in having to displace individuals for a period of time in the space that we have, but not necessarily the most ideal space. So I just ask that there's some patience given as we go down this road, because we're going to get there, but there's still some hurdles that we're going to have to cross in order to get to the finish line. Mr. Lindstrom did an amazing job, I think, tonight speaking. He left. I wish he was here. Speaking to some of the things that he's experienced this year, and I wish he was here because I would have told him how much I appreciated their TSA scores, the technical skills assessment scores. Auto improved by what?
They were 30% when I started.
They were at 30% not too long ago, and they're at 76%.
Wow.
Now, think about that. We structured the automotive program in a way that was very unconventional based on how things had always been done here. And there was some real concern, rightfully so, on whether or not students were going to have the opportunity to have the success that we expect them to have. TSA isn't the only measurement of success, so please don't think I'm saying that. But to go from 30% to 76% in a relatively short period of time by doing things that were unconventional is a tribute to the curriculum department, but it's also a tribute to our faculty and to our staff for their willingness to try, even though at times it's been uncomfortable and awkward, and we as administrators maybe have not leaned in as well as we should have. But for them to hang in there to see the fruits of the labor, I think is really exceptional. I think you will continue to see that story play itself out in our different programs and different departments as we continue to evolve as an organization. And one of the reasons why I think that is so exciting is because when we begin looking at the possibility of students coming to EVIT and having a successful experience and an experience that gives them the industry certifications and passes the TSAs in a single year versus what used to at times take 2 years, that opens the door in terms of flexibility for their home schedule. but also for them to participate in multiple programs. And so you look at our construction and our growth in the construction of saying, can we get construction done in a year? And a student comes back then and takes HVAC or takes plumbing, or takes HVAC or plumbing and then comes back in construction. Now we're building out a much more well-rounded opportunity for students. Those things wouldn't be possible if we didn't have a curriculum team that was actually unpacking the standards and creating a scope and sequence and a pacing guide that is not only fair to the instructor and to the student, but also rigorous enough to have success. When we talk about growth, and I've told you before that I anticipate that we're going to grow again next year. And Mr. Hobson, you mentioned that we budgeted conservatively. I hope you always do that because I never want to get caught in a spot in which we don't have the financial means to pay our way right now or in the near future. But the ability to be conservative and then to have growth provides flexibility for us financially. So there's just a wonderful amount of things that happen on our campuses daily that I don't know that I do as good a job communicating to you or sharing with our faculty and staff. But at the end of the day, this is an exceptional place, largely driven by a governing board that believes in students and is foundationally due to the faculty and staff, to our teachers and to our support staff that come here every single day, and as Mr. Lindstrom stated, with the intent of changing a life. And I don't know that that happens in many other educational institutions within not only the East Valley, but the state of Arizona, the great state of Maricopa, and anywhere. So thank you for the opportunity. Last but not least, I'd like to introduce, we have a new IT director, Mr. Maddox. If you'd like to stand up, this is Mr. Maddox, our new IT director. Say hi. Carlos is staying on with us, and so we have now, additional resource and additional support, but you're going to start seeing quite a bit more of Mr. Maddox, and so I wanted to make sure you knew who he was. So unless you have questions or concerns for me, Mr. President, that's completion ceremony. Forgot about it. Make sure, Monday, Tuesday, next week. If you haven't been yet, it's amazing. That's it. Let me get my chair up.
Any special directions on graduation?
I'm sorry?
Any special directions on parking or?
I think Tammy is going to send you guys out your parking passes so that you have that.
Okay, timeline, I guess. Thank you, Tammy. Okay, hearing this, we're going to, gotta get my paper out here because I was looking up Christopher Maddox. You were on the other one twice.
Calendar.
I wonder if you're going to get twice the salary or not. Oh, sorry about that.
We have calendar.
The calendar. Anything anybody want to add to the calendar?
Do we have 2 meetings in June? Yes? Okay.
Don't know.
10th and 24th.
We have to. That's right. Ms. Perez, yes, we do.
Okay, I would like an update on board spending for our field trips.
Oh, very good. Board spending on travel?
Yeah.
Mr. President, were we ever going to come back to talk about policy? Because we tabled a policy before along the same lines. And is this the time? Maybe later time.
Wow.
You all had talked at some point in time of revisiting that. If that's a revision we want to, then maybe what we can do is in June, we can have a discussion about the total dollars spent and then maybe get a little bit of a deeper conversation on conferences and travel.
Let's do that.
Anything else? Hearing none, I ask for a question on adjournment.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nobody's opposed.
Thank you.